Okay, so I just want to start off with Wednesday was such a brilliant day. As I said, I'm a teacher at Westminster Kingsway College, and it was a really positive day for us. Our site had a strong picket, we had 20 people, and then more people came down and joined us on the demo. And from the start, it really felt like much more of a militant strike day compared to the other strike days that we've had. Barely any students turned up, and I think that's because lots of parents were on strike, the news coverage had built up for it, and teachers were very open in discussing why they were going on strike and what they were doing it for. And even several managers who normally scab didn't turn up that day, so that was brilliant. But it was only a handful of the real sort of scumbag scabs who decided to turn up and stroll across the picket line. And with the people who did turn up, we had strong political arguments with them about that this wasn't like any other strike. That it was a really political move to cross that picket line, and if they weren't in the union, they needed to join the union then. And we managed to convince quite a few people not to cross, or those people who did cross, we've gone and had conversations with them and recruited them to the union. Because they were choosing a side that day, either the cuts or the people that they work with, and the 2.6 million people who are out on strike that day was a choice. And I think one of the key reasons why we had such a solid picket line is because before the summer we did an unofficial walkout over a threat of redundancies over ESOL. And it was a small thing. We all walked out during a training day and we did this big banner drop of Save ESOL, it's our college, and lots of other big slogans. But it was a really fun and exciting thing to do. And it built up people's confidence for before the summer to come back in September and fight. So I think things like that are really important to do. And there's a real sense of Wednesday of different struggles linking up together. And we had 20 uni students who came down to show that solidarity, and a number of them had already been down before on J30 to bring us breakfast. And now those same students are going to link up with our students, help them build a student union and get them active in our strike for next time. And then we went on this epic mission around London, picking up like loads of different picket lines. Some teachers from the City of Westminster came down and met us. And then we marched down Gray's Inn Road and people were beeping their car horns, and we walked past this cafe and this guy jumped up and like cheered and shouted solidarity at us as well. So it really felt like everyone was with us. And we went out to Camden Town Hall and listened to messages of solidarity from other unions. And there were French workers there and greetings from Tahir Square as well. So I really made like a sense of it was an international struggle which was going on. And then accompanied by an N30 battle bus, we then marched down past University College Hospital, passed down other unis, passed then down to Mallet Street and met up with other students, and then went down and met the big march. So it just felt like such a celebration of London was ours and we could really sort of take it over. And Wednesday was such a leap forward for us, just due to the like sheer size of the strike. Most people alive in Britain have never seen such working class militancy on such a scale. And knowing that there's millions of people across the country who are all striking together and getting reports of different demonstrations coming in, just made the march feel really that much more electric, and that we're part of a national struggle, not just fighting against our managers, we're fighting against the government. And the strength and solidarity that experienced in just that day made people feel that we are a strong force and helped build our confidence for taking on the government. And I think that the conversations that we're having on the picket line as well and on the demo were to a much higher political level. People were barely discussing pensions. They're talking about pay, they're talking about EMA, tuition fees, and like a common one on our picket line was that the new policy, like the slave labour policy that they're bringing in, if you've got to work stacking shelves in Poundland in order to get your benefits, that's really irritating people, and people are angry about all of these different things. And people are asking on the picket line, what are we going to do next? And they're asking me in part because I'm an SWP member, and they've seen me like take a lead and fight, and they see us as an organisation who does take a lead and who does fight. In our politics and our position on N30, and we need more strike action from here, is something which is really cutting with people. People are really, it's appealing to people. And I had another lengthy discussion with a colleague on the demo about Egypt, about how they're going to have a revolution there, how can they get a real democracy, how do you even have a revolution? And that was amazing, but what was really different about it was that it wasn't me going around and going, do you know what's happening in Egypt? Have you heard about these things? It's people coming up to me and asking me, what are we going to do next? What's going on in Egypt? How can we do things like that? Just shows sort of a real difference about what's going on. And then the following day at work, people were so angry about Clarkson's disgusting comments that we should all be shot in front of our families. They couldn't believe that you're allowed to say something like that on TV and not be challenged. So everyone was emailing it round and getting more angry and more worked up about it. And people are furious as well about Cameron saying that it was just a damn squid, that nothing happened at all, because it seemed like the Tories couldn't make up their minds. Either we're inconveniencing mothers, we're going to wreck the whole economy, or nothing happened, no one went out, it was rubbish. And people didn't accept this. They didn't accept the Tory propaganda, which they're trying to push out. And then there's a whole big discussion in the staff workroom about why were the media doing it, why weren't they challenging? So it's just generalising all the politics out. So it's really still felt like a very positive mood. But I think what's crucial about everything which happened on N30 and the brilliant conversations that we had there and in the staff room the day after is what we're going to do to build on these gains and keep up the momentum. Because over a year ago, it was a much bleaker position for working class militancy. And this strike has really been like a breaking through the ice moment. By the party having a vision and pushing through a plan of what needs to be done. And if we carry on with this plan, then we really can start seeing that there is a better future that we can be living for and a better society that we want to live in. And I think one of the things that we need to be doing is building rank and file networks. That's going to help build on these gains and strengthen these gains. As on the demo, I met loads of people who I'd never met before at different colleges and different workplaces. And what we're going to do from that is invite those people into our next branch meeting and get them to talk about what they did. And I need to also tell them about the next Unite the Resistance meeting and bring them along as well. So we're bringing all the activists together and really pushing forward. But we also need to take stock of where our strengths and weaknesses are and build to improve these. Do you want to sum up? 1 minute? Okay. Because at our college, we found out on N30 that Unison wasn't that strong. 2 of the Unison stewards crossed the picket line whilst Unison members were outside. So what we've got to do is, we've got to deal with that. So our branch chair is writing a letter to the good militant Unison steward and saying, we'll support you, we'll help you build a better branch, help you try and find some activists. So we can lend support because we've got a really strong union branch at our college. So we need to do that. And the key question is what we're going to do next. We need to be showing a lead in our workplaces, pushing for more strikes, and the sooner the better. In a new CU, the NEC passed a motion last Friday which said that there needs to be another strike in January, then regional actions, and then build up to a 48-hour strike in February. So sort of really pushing it and going further and escalating. And what we're going to do on Thursday is we're going to hopefully pass that motion as well, because can't just be on the top pushing down. It's got to be building pressure from below as well, and arming the other people in our workplace of the arguments of what's going to happen, why we need to be doing this. And I think, just briefly summing up, that I need to be following up on everything, all those conversations we had about Egypt, sending articles round. So it's all the detailed work that we need to start doing to really push through everything which was brilliant about M30, so we get more militant action and escalation and hopefully get rid of those Tory bastards.